What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and I am joined tonight by Adam Carlson.
I don't know why it looks like I just got done smoking like a big bowl, but it looks like I'm higher than a kite, and I don't know why.
I'm sleepy, and I have a reflection from my glasses. I mistakenly took a nap today around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, which is not a good move by me. Rookie mistake, but I'm awake. I'm here. I'm present. We're waiting on Kyle West. Just recently got off work, so he's going to hop in at some point. But this is the kickoff to what I hope is not a foreshadowing of the rest of the season. Kickoff of the 2023 NFL season technically started last Thursday with the Lions and the Chiefs, but the Vikings season started yesterday with a home opener against the Buccaneers, and they fell short. And pretty handily, they should have won this game. They were favored by at least 5 to win this game, and they lost by 3. A lot of things went wrong, and Kyle West is in. There we go. We just got started, man. I was just telling everyone that the Vikings season started yesterday, and Vikings should have won this game, but they ended up losing. And, yeah, it was pretty sloppy, especially in the second half. A lot of protection issues. We'll get into who we thought performed well and who didn't. We traditionally give away a game ball and donkey on this show, but the Vikings fall to the Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers 20-17. And I'm hitting panic mode immediately because I'm going to go ahead and go into it. The Vikings are going to start 0-2 within 5 days. They're going to have 2 losses. There is, and I will say, a 101% chance they do not win in Philadelphia for their home opener on Thursday night. There's not a chance. There's no way they do it.
Well,
it's not happening.
It's also the Minnesota Vikings. So the most Vikings thing for them to do would be to lose to Baker Mayfield and then beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't know if you watched, but Mac Jones was tearing up the Eagles defense.
It's true. I was glad yesterday when I saw they got a turnover in the fourth quarter late, and they had a chance to actually win that game. Credit to Bill Belichick. He always has a pretty good defensive team, but it's the home opener in Philly. They were just in the Super Bowl this past January. I don't see there's any shadow of a doubt that this Vikings team is going to start out 0-2, and it's going to be one of those seasons if it keeps up this way. And let's just dive right into it. If you guys have some comments in the chat, Adam, Andrew says that he hopes you get well, sound better. That's good. The game was rough and choppy for the most part. I do remember seeing that the Vikings had more time of possession.
Yeah, the defense did a great job. They limited the Buccaneers to, I believe, 240 yards of offense.
I can pull that up and tell you here.
Yeah, 173 in the air, and 73 on the ground. So pretty close, man. It's nothing crazy. Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdowns. No picks.
Only get 6 third downs in the whole game.
The name of the game here, if we start pointing blame and we'll go down the list, turnovers.
And Mekhi Blackman looked real good.
Yeah. If you guys want to, if we want to get started there, man, we could do game balls and donkeys and kind of break the game down that way. If you guys want to go there to start, I'm going to give my game ball to Brian Flores. I like seeing the pass rush actually exist and actually be an entity that this team is going to use. Were they the best defensive team this weekend? No. But this is a step in the right direction, and I'm happy to see that he's going to have an identity and make this defense actually be formidable. Where they end up at the end of the season, I don't know. But I was very pleased for the most part with the defensive side because it looks not like it did last year.
Yeah, correct. They did not just sit back in shell coverage and just, hey, we're going to hope for the best. We are just going to hope that we can stop a big play and then never actually do it. There was some crazy statistic that I read earlier today that was like the Vikings only blitzed 14% of the time last year. And this is per game. So about 14% of the time they actually blitzed the quarterback. and it was like 40% in the home opener against Tampa Bay. So that's a little bit of a different change in philosophy here. So that's a good game ball. I wanted to mention real quick, wasn't it nice seeing Danielle Hunter going after the quarterback instead of dropping into pass coverage?
But while we're talking about Danielle Hunter, we also got to talk about Marcus Davenport because he was a scratch for this game. He was on the injury report. He was the only person on the final injury report, and he was unable to go. Now, I know a lot of Vikings fans didn't really have any sort of expectation for Davenport, but the Vikings gave him a lot of money, and the fact that he was unable to go in week 1 was a little disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the expectations for him are to be active on game day. Now, whether or not he can be productive, that's an entirely different conversation. But like when you got released from the Saints in large part because you couldn't stay healthy on the field and you're already missing time for the Vikings for the same reason, like that doesn't bode well for your future with the team.
Yeah, it would be nice to see him at least available. With availability is the best ability, but it's I'll give him a chance to get back and see if he's going to go. If he goes on Thursday, I'm not going to be too upset about it. And if it doesn't go that way, man, the tick marks against Kwesi just keep adding up, man. And I understand. Oh, we just had this draft. It's only 1 year removed from the last one, but I think it's a safe thing to say that the negatives outweigh the positives, even if it's only 55 to 45%. And I'm ready to give him the chance and not completely shut him out. But I think what I'm trying to do as a fan is hold back from being – we should have won the game, and now we're going to start in a hole, and it's not very good. We have last year's conference champions in their house on Thursday in a short week. So I'm trying not to let my emotions avalanche. But I get very frustrated when we clearly know the Vikings could have and should have won this game, and they lose it. Not only do they lose at home. This team doesn't lose at home very often, and I don't feel like you should lose to an inferior opponent now.
Well, it's hard to look at it as Kwesi's fault when the Vikings go -3 on turnover differential.
No, I'm not attributing yesterday completely, but more talking about the Davenport stuff is if this becomes a trend, this going cheap or going for the guys that are neglected and outcasts, that formula is not working out, and that's going to be another season added on for.
Because I still can't believe that KJ Osborne didn't fight harder for that ball.
Yeah. Yes, Andrew Addison is fast. He's going to be nice with JJ. Yeah. They both looked pretty good yesterday. Justin Jefferson led the way with 150 yards. Now he was negligent in the second half. Tampa Bay did a great job shutting him down, but 150 yards, 9 for 12. Jordan Addison right behind him, 4 for 6, 61, and a touchdown. So that's cool. I'm happy to see that he got in and scored the first Vikings touchdown of the year.
I'm going to be with Andrew here, and I'm going to give my game ball to Mekhi Blackman. Although that whole secondary, Caleb Evans looked real good. Other than the one miscommunication in the deep secondary, even Josh Metellus was good, and he got his name called out several times during the game.
Yeah, he did. Josh Metellus had a pretty good game. I like the way he was used. Andrew asks, how bad was the pass on the interception at the goal line? Okay, here's the positive and the negative. The negative that you could analyze just at a quick glance is, why would Kirk Cousins throw into double coverage? The other negative that's not his fault, which is kind of a positive, is the pass was completed to KJ Osborne. That should have been a touchdown. Had that stayed a touchdown, this team probably wins the game. And you can say that for a couple plays. Ed Ingram swiping the ball out of the center in Kirk Cousins' hands. I mean, we shot ourselves in the foot yesterday as a team. But, yeah, KJ Osborne caught that pass, Andrew, and he should have held on to the ball. And all credit goes to the Buccaneers defense. They are a scrappy bunch. And they played their ass off yesterday. I mean, there's really no other way around it. They played well. Todd Bowles is a defensive, minded coach, so they made some plays.
For my game ball, I am going to also stick on the defensive side of things, I'm going to give one to Harrison Phillips. There was a lot of times I jokingly said in the offseason, I kept forgetting that Harrison Phillips was on this team. He kind of seemed like one of those guys you could have lumped in with all the other veterans that got jettisoned and sent out. But you know what? He quietly had himself a pretty good game out there for the team, and you could see why they wanted to keep him around. So I wanted to call him out and give him a game ball and say that I thought he looked pretty good, and I think that he'll be a player that will continue to get better and progress each week underneath Brian Flores in this defense.
He ate up some pretty good space in that in the trenches there, and Minnesota actually didn't look too bad against the run in this game, and it's not like Tampa's a terrible running team either. So, and this has to be considered a win for the big guys in the trenches on the Vikings defense.
Yeah, Tampa Bay only had 73 total rushing yards.
Yeah, the Vikings had an impressive 41 yards on the ground with 7 of them from Kirk Cousins. So that's fine.
And you know what's frustrating about that stat is that when I looked at what Alexander Mattison was actually doing, I felt that he was doing his job. Like he was doing what I expected from him. Okay. He's not going to break, generally speaking, a big 40-yard flash play run like Dalvin Cook.
I believe statistically he did not cause one missed tackle in that whole game.
But he did carry some guys. So like he was getting, I thought, yards after contact.
The only time he shed a tackler was on that touchdown pass.
Yeah, give him credit there. He was a receiving option, and he fought to get that touchdown, which was great to see. But 34 yards from your running back number 1 on 11 carries is not good. Even worse for your backup running back, 3 carries for 0 yards in Ty Chandler. So this leads me right in, and I am heartbroken to say this. I know that you guys wanted to give the game or the donkey to Ed Ingram. I've given my donkey to Kevin O'Connell. You can't lose. You cannot lose this game, dude. With everything that's riding on the line, and like I'm gonna pour on him today because the second half, the offense, I think they had 2 possessions. What the hell, man? And knowing that you're going into Philly on Thursday, and like he knows, I'm not gonna bag on him too hard, but he knows the importance of winning. But then we have the Jefferson situation that people are talking about, which give or take whatever side you're on it, it's not fixed yet, and that's just one more thing to add to the plate. I know that doesn't necessarily weigh the game. Justin Jefferson had a great game, but I have to look at the coach and say,
first half.
Yeah, great first half. Where are the adjustments going to be made in the second half? And also, I know it's not on him for drafting, but he has a say in the draft. I told you guys in the chat, and you remember what I said yesterday. This team gets exactly what it deserves for not paying attention to and upgrading the interior of the offensive line. The biggest weakness on the team last year going into this year was that interior offensive line. You can say corner, you can say defensive coordinator, blah, blah, blah. They patch things up here and there, and they make a great hire in Flores. They did
Well, it
nothing.
hurt a lot, too, when Bradbury left with that injury.
Yeah, it sucks. You got to have better depth. But I'm still not convinced 18 games into his career that Ed Ingram is the solution. And we're just going to roll with him for a whole nother season. And hit the
I still thought it was weird watching that replay of him taking that step back with flailing his arms in a panic, just trying to figure out what to do to slow anyone down.
Sergio, you're right. I know I'm being a negative Nancy here. This could be just attributed to pretty much none of the starters playing very much in the preseason. Maybe it's a little rusty. You hate to lose one at home. September football is going to be ugly. I expect that. But I don't know, man. I'm just taken back at this was a team they needed to and should have beaten, and they beat themselves. And I really wanted to give it to Kirk Cousins. I couldn't do it in my heart. Ed Ingram's too easy to pick, so I'm going to put it on
Kirk
the leader.
Cousins is nominated for FedEx Air Player of the Week.
Nice.
He will not win it. Tua will, but I mean, what are you going to do?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa had a game yesterday.
He's nominated, so you know what? That's got to count for something.
Before you go, Kyle, I want to let everybody know Adam and I were watching as it happened, but if you aren't paying attention to Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers went down with a nasty ankle injury. And
that sucks, man.
I thought it was an ACL to start. I'm crushed for Jets fans.
Well, they have confirmed it's not a broken bone, so we'll see what it is. They have confirmed that he will not return. So I guess we'll learn more later here.
Oh, that's okay. He can take a year off and rest before he comes to Minnesota next year. We all know this is happening. So
that and the 49ers being linked to Kirk Cousins because his contract is up soon. Which I don't think that'll happen if Brock Purdy plays well, but
Brock Purdy is playing so fucking well for them.
It's weird.
Why are you're I like Kirk. You're downgrading if you're trading for Kirk right now.
Do much though in that San Francisco team. There's so much talent.
Yeah. And you're paying Brock Purdy absolutely nothing to perform at a high level right now. Mm-hmm. So you have that window that Vikings fans want where you're paying a rookie quarterback absolutely nothing so that you can put just an amazing team around him. So if you're the 49ers, you're going to throw that out the window to pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money.
Zach Wilson's out there.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that tonight. I was like, I wonder if the Jets do a panic move. They're going to stick with Zach Wilson, but I wonder if they do a panic signing like we had to do for Sam Bradford somewhere and they trade for somebody, you know?
They go and sign Carson Wentz.
I mean, he needs a job. Andrew, I agree with you. I really dislike not putting the starters in for at least a quarter in the preseason. Just something to shake off the rust. I understand why they don't. But
speaking of old quarterbacks, let's give a little bit of a head nod or of appreciation to Matt Ryan on his first broadcasting job.
They did him
pretty well.
They did him so fucking dirty in that thing. Did you guys hear the 28-3 reference? Oh man, if I got off of there, if I was up, they cut the cameras or whatever, I would put my hands on that guy if I'm Matt Ryan. Yeah, he sounded great. It's really crazy, like whatever school or whatever training these guys go to from, and I see why quarterbacks. That's a good point, Adam. I understand, them having to call plays and being very smart on the field, but to be that well-spoken, he's a natural at this. I really enjoyed the parts that I heard from Matt Ryan. That's a good call, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sergio, they did him dirty on that. But anyways, sorry, I was long-winded on the donkey. You guys go ahead. Who else deserves a donkey from this game?
Oh, I'm going obvious. You can't strip sack your own player and not get donkey.
Yeah. Ed Ingram. I feel like there's going to be a lot of Ed Ingram donkeys this year.
Hey, you know what, guys? If this is the way the season goes, we'll be a whole lot closer to getting a quarterback and not having to give up much.
And you know what's
cool?
You know what's frustrating about Ed Ingram? Folks, he's not going anywhere because he was a high draft pick by a new administration. They're not giving up on that.
Yeah, it is a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. We could have been the Giants.
Hey, you know what? If there was a positive for me last night, it's like you get what you pay for, New York. Daniel Jones is terrible. So
Danny Dollars.
Have fun paying him more than Kirk Cousins.
He should be sending Ed Donatel a Christmas card like every single day. Because that Vikings game got him that contract extension, and holy shit, should he be thankful for the Ed Donatel shell defense.
Kyle, I know you don't have Instagram anymore. I wish I could send it to you. Obviously, the internet works pretty fast, but I sent it to a bunch of my football friends last night. They show the game stats like off of ESPN.
Yeah.
But they superimpose Stewie from Family Guy, and he's going to bed. And he's like, all right, I think I'll get some sleep. And he rolls over, and you just wait 3 seconds, and you hear him going. Every New York Giants fan right now, they were destroyed last night.
And Bengals fans, I saw that same meme.
We've got to talk about it, man. The Dallas Cowboys defense is for real. Think about this, too. I didn't realize it until today. It didn't really hit me, even though we know this is a thing. Mike McCarthy is the head coach. Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator. You basically have two head coaches.
Yeah.
And Dan Quinn's probably the better one. I mean, let's be real. Mike McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers for however many years and got to one Super Bowl. Granted, I get Dan Quinn lost the one he got to, but he probably had better players around. And Dallas, they're going to be a problem. Dak Prescott didn't have a touchdown at all last night in the air or running, and they still beat the shit out of the Giants. So glad we're not going to play them in the regular season. That's fun. Yeah, Adam mentioned the Bengals looked terrible yesterday. I think they had like 82 yards in the air. It was really bad. Their defense is really good over in Cleveland, so that was fun. Oh, man. Dallas almost hit the over of 45 when I picked the under. They were stressing me out. I can't do it.
As the Bears. I don't know. Expectations were kind of high for Justin Fields. They're like, we went and got him a great weapon. And then they invested in the offensive line during the draft. And I still don't really see what all the excitement's about. I guess during the post-game conference, Justin Fields apologized for his performance. You don't see that too often.
You don't have to apologize, Justin. You're the next Marcus Mariota. You'll be bouncing around from team to team until you're a backup in 3 years. It's fine.
There was a video, I haven't watched it yet, but supposedly it's of their receiver Claypool not giving any effort on a bunch of plays out on the field. So,
oh boy,
there you go, Chicago Bears fans.
Second round pick, Chase Claypool.
Yeah,
love that. Anyways, yeah, is that your donkey too, Kyle? Ed Ingram, you gonna hand him to that?
I figured one of you guys would go with Ed Ingram, so I wanted to, have a little bit of variety in here. We'll all have an opportunity to give one to Ed Ingram this season, I feel like. I am going with the collective running back room / play calling for the Minnesota Vikings. I did not think it was a very inspired set of play calls from Kevin O'Connell. Getting a little too cute with CJ Ham. I like me some CJ Ham, but we're trying to force him the ball a little too much already. Don't like that. Madison, I thought, he did some things as much as you can do when you only get 34 yards. 11 carries is nowhere near balanced enough.
Right.
So
let's be honest, the Vikings are a passing team now. They aren't the running team with the strong defense. This isn't the Mike Zimmer era anymore.
Right.
All the Minnesota Vikings need to do is keep enough of a credible run threat to keep the play action alive, because that's where Kirk Cousins is at his best.
Well, I tell you who didn't look credible, and that was Ty Chandler.
I'm with Adam on, this is a passing team, but I'll push back on that just a little bit. 44 times to throw is a little much for my liking. And when you take away Kirk Cousins' 3, I don't think those were designed runs. He just happened to run on at least one of them I saw. That you take away the 3 runs from Kirk Cousins, that's 14 runs between 2 running backs. That's not enough. I don't need it to be 30 or 29, but give me 18 to 19 at least between 2 guys, And
I realize that the game dictates what you call for your plays, and you got into a little bit of a shootout situation where you had to put some points up.
Because I was reading that Myles Gaskin was going to be elevated for this game, and he was not. So I was wondering why he wasn't part of this team.
I don't understand. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that one, but I don't understand that whole thing, that whole scenario.
They released him, signed him to the practice squad to elevate him to the main roster. What? And they didn't elevate him?
It's a bunch of whose line is it anyway? Everything is made up and the points don't matter. I don't understand it.
Did he save his elevations for later, or what? What's going on?
I don't get it. I don't understand what any of it means. I bet you if we got enough traction in a tweet to ask Vikings Twitterland or NFL Twitterland, they would let us know. I don't care enough to ask that question.
Completely making this up, but I wonder if it has something to do with if you're not active on the first game, they don't have to guarantee his entire salary if he's a veteran player with so many years under his belt. Isn't that a thing?
Some salary cap thing to do with it.
Yeah, isn't that a thing that I've heard before, Adam? So that would be about the only guess I could come up with.
Because it doesn't make sense to go into that game with Madison and Chandler when you had this running back room that was full of talent. You cut McBride to bring him on the practice squad. Don't elevate him either.
Yeah.
And, Kenny Wangwu was on the PUP list. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
I'm looking at the money now, talking about that, looking at the spot track. We have about $6 million in cap space, so not as much as you'd like, but still some left over. You're not in the negative or running on fumes. Calculated market values.
Oh,
I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson's calculated market value, $28.7 million.
Good gracious.
Woof. Good
so
for you, dude.
here's what's gonna hurt a lot this this season when we do the compare as to what Dalvin Cook is doing, and keep in mind that they're in the third quarter right now. He's got 8 carries for 30 yards. Brees Hall's 5 carries for 106. So Cook he's going to pass what Madison did, and I think that's what's going to be frustrating for a lot of Vikings fans, even though I still stand by the decision that they made to move on from him. He's going to continue to look like the better running back.
Andrew says, I think that the interior O-line makes the biggest difference in the run game. Tackles help if they can pull, but it's really about getting seams. Yeah. Here's the thing. I will give Luke Braun all the credit. I was listening earlier when I was making dinner. I agree with him. If they can't just go out and pick another person and run the same thing, because there is no one available that is just like worlds above the guys we have now. That's how you have to do the trades. You have to draft very well and pick high to get these players, right? So I understand that just cutting Ed Ingram and cutting Garrett Bradbury or whomever player is not going to change when you put someone that's worse in there. It's not going to change anything.
Remember last year when the Vikings were trying to run Alexander Madison off tackle?
Yeah.
It's like doesn't have the acceleration for that.
That's not what that's not his game. But to my point for the line here, I agree with you, Andrew, and I have to stick by it. And I don't want to sound like I'm just chastising these players. They've got the tackles set. I love our tackles. Everything in the middle scares me because I feel like it's right below like the league average. It's a little underwhelming, but they didn't do anything to make this better. And I'm not being one of those guys on Viking Twitter right now that says, you should have signed Dalton Risner. There's a reason he hasn't been signed. He's probably not healthy enough. We have the money to sign him. I'm not worried about that. But they didn't do anything in the way of the draft to make this better. They didn't go look at free agents and sign anyone. Mm-hmm. So this is where this team is going to live and die. And guess what? I said it to start the show. I'm not going to deflect. We're still going to talk about the Bucs game. They are going to get mollywopped on Thursday night. And I would put down my paycheck to bet that right now. They are going to get destroyed.
They did invest in Garrett Bradbury. They threw a 3-year deal down on him.
Yeah.
So it's not like they completely ignored the interior offensive line.
I know, but they didn't upgrade. I mean, I think you should always give a swinging chance to upgrade. And I don't feel like they've done nearly the due diligence they should to look around. Yeah, you can flirt with, players or whatever, but
and I don't know. We're going to look at Ezra Cleveland and we'll be like, he's okay. And we're going to be okay with okay. And then, with the extension for the center, you're not much you're going to do there. So it all comes right back to Ed Ingram.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And remember, I said this on our show, and if it wasn't here, then it was on a space with my friend Mike on his Twitter space. I don't need you to nail and get down in one offseason 3 all-pros in the middle. Now, if you do that,
nice if you could.
It'd be cool. But out of the 3, if you can just get one of them to be above average, blue chip-ish, not even all-pro, just a Pro Bowler maybe one year. If you can get that level of player at one of those 3, I think that does many, many dividends for everybody. But, dude, you saw it yesterday. The Buccaneers have a decent defense. They're not the best in the league. They're not the ones from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But they've got a decent defense and players all around. Kirk Cousins was under
young guys and some experienced players that know what they're doing.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins was under duress yesterday. He was hit 9 times, 3 passes defended, and he was sacked twice. So we got to do a little better there. I think they need to get more creative with this pass blocking tight end that they have and CJ Ham. You just need to get them in there and do something every play, and fucking so be it.
Yeah, that one Cousins fumble, that was a blitzer that just absolutely did not get picked up at all.
Yeah. I believe in the commentary they said, I think the back should have picked that up. So I can't really blame Kirk when he gets blindsided.
He got rocked.
Rocked, and like I wasn't mad when I saw the replay. I was like, well, there was no protection there. Wasn't that Winfield that got through on that too?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think so.
We should.
Did you guys see the video of
picked him up.
Geno Smith yelling, "Oh no!"
Aaron Donald running at full speed. He's like, "Oh my god!
Oh my god!"
Just grabs the ball. It's so funny.
It's nice to know that even the professional players have the exact same reaction I would in that situation. Oh fuck!
Get the ball out as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah,
oh, that's funny. That's right, Antoine Winfield Jr. God, I wish we would have picked him up.
We should have drafted him. God damn you, Rick Spielman.
Minnesota native and son of one of the.
I don't even remember who did we take instead? Someone who's probably not even on the team.
Hold on, I'll tell you. 2020 NFL draft. We had Gladney. I think we took Gladney that draft.
Let's talk about someone who I think is a good draft pick. We mentioned him a little bit earlier in the podcast. Jordan Addison out there. He made a couple plays. He scored his first touchdown. Had himself a nice little dance. Little TD dance there from him. He looks really speedy, which is exactly what we needed to pair opposite from Justin Jefferson. I think that they will be able to find more creative ways. You're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head?
Motherfucker. All right. I'm looking at this. I'll tell you all the players up until Antoine Winfield that we could have selected, and you're going to love this. And this is, we are not, and I'm saying it live forever on a database forever. We are not poo-pooing on Jeff Gladney. Rest in peace. All right. This is nothing against him. This is all in the management beforehand. The 2020 NFL draft, obviously we got Justin Jefferson. At 31, we got Jeff Gladney. Here's a couple of people that we could have taken up into Antoine Winfield, who was the 45th overall pick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., not bad, DeAndre Swift,
okay,
Xavier McKinney, New York Giants safety, all right, Yetur Gross-Matos, he's pretty good, Jonathan Taylor, Laviska Shenault, all right, Grant Delpit, safety for the Browns, and Antoine Winfield Jr. went 45th to the Buccaneers.
See the reports that the Bengals don't have T. Higgins in their future plans?
I did see that. So you're telling me there's a chance.
That's
Higgins.
I just laugh, man. And this is we can talk about this on a show and do a whole hour on it. You can't tell players that they shouldn't make all the money they can in the world. But at some point, there's a number that you reach in your head where, like, if I have this, I'm completely set for life. I can buy Lamborghinis. I can buy multi-million-dollar homes all across the world. I can go on vacations. I can invest.
Some guys shouldn't buy the super fast cars. It gets them in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Raider.
That's rough.
So
I'm not
do you trade KJ Osborne for T. Higgins?
He'll probably walk because I don't know if we're going to keep him.
Well, unless the Vikings can work out an extension with Osborne, he's a free agent after the season.
Oh, yeah, so, that's right.
He's probably going to hit free agency and make some pretty good money.
If Mike Zimmer was the head coach, he'd have cut him immediately after this game for giving up that interception.
Sergio's right. Antoine Winfield Jr. said he was a Viking fan as well. I mean, he went to the University of Minnesota, for God's sake.
I mean, his dad was a legend in Minnesota. Of course.
Ruined that for us. But
I do want to give props to one other Vikings player that I almost gave a game ball to. That's Ryan Wright. I believe that he had averaged almost 53.5 yards per punt.
Average 51.4, long of 58.
Yeah, he boomed that ball all day long.
Also, golf clap every time Greg Joseph doesn't miss a field goal or extra point. Thank you for doing your job. Appreciate you on that one.
I'm going to jinx us, but I'm not even really worried about it anymore.
Did you know that Ryan Wright is the same height and weight as Derrick Henry.
Kyle.
Yeah, I did see that, Adam.
What did you say, Adam? Sorry, I'm shaking my head at Kyle. He
Ryan
just
Wright
jinxed us
is the
now.
same height and weight as Derrick Henry.
It's, you know what? We're not going to get into the specifics, but isn't it funny how those are two totally, completely different looking humans? That's insane.
It's wild.
Because one looks like a thick boy punter, which I'm cool with, and one looks like a defensive end, and then you realize, oh no, he runs to people and through people.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious. Here we go. I don't like how everyone is anticipating Gritty 2.0. I just care about this team playing as one great unit, winning games. Yeah, the thick boy does rule. We do love our punter here. To Sergio's point, I like the three-headed monster, and I'm not giving KJ Osborne as much credit. Has nothing to do with the incident yesterday, the interception. It's just last season it was Jefferson, then Hawkinson was a security blanket. Addison will bring a new element to this as the wide receiver 2 or the slant kid, and I really enjoy what he brings to the wrinkle there. So there's 3 great options to catch passes. I don't know. I don't think you have to force it to JJ. I think he'll find ways to get open, but I don't know, man.
For a while, I wasn't sure wide receiver was a huge need because I thought, okay, maybe KJ Osborne can slide in there and take on a bigger role since he's been doing well in whatever he's been asked to do up to this point. But this game showed that he might be better off not having that extended role, and that the extra pressure might not be something that he needs.
I think I agree with you, Adam. I don't know. I guess my big picture rant that I've been kind of waiting to get on here about the Vikings is that there are a lot of people on social media right now who are all just doom and gloom, and that's the worst performance I've ever seen. And you'd swear we were the ones that got You'd swear we were the ones that got blown out like what the Giants just did. And to me, that game was a loss. And you have I didn't think it was outrageous. I mean, you turned the ball over 3 times. You're not going to win a lot of games where you turn the ball over 3 times. You work on ball security. And for me, I know it's the home opener. You always want to win those. It sucks when you don't. But it's the first game of the regular season. We have an extra game now. So I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It's not as important to me. These first games all feel like a dress rehearsal to get your starters ready for week 2 when shit really, really matters. Unfortunately for us, week 2 is coming really soon on a Thursday against a Philadelphia Eagles team that we're not going to beat. So that's going to be a rough start to the season. But overall, this team is going to be fine.
But this already feels a lot different from last year, because last year that Minnesota team found a way to win almost every close game they were in.
Yeah.
This game, you kind of felt like, okay, this is where Minnesota is going to come down and they're going to score or, get a takeaway and make some changes, and it didn't happen.
Midway through, I think it was the 3rd quarter, you could just tell by watching the cadence of this team. I think it was the defense in particular. They looked gassed. They looked tired out on the field. And you knew, I knew, we're not going to win this game.
Well, the point to that too, Kyle, that's a great point you make, is at one point they were on the field for like 15 minutes, like a whole quarter they were on, because they just chipped away, the Buccaneers did, and kept the offense on the side, which frustrates the rhythm for the quarterback. But you're right, it tires out the players. But I listened to that today. I think it was Chris Sims, doing a review of every game with his partner, and said, dude, they only had like 2 possessions in the second half. When you look at it, if the defense is on the field that long, that is never a good thing.
No.
I'm going to counter your argument, Kyle. I think we're going to be fine, sure. But here's the problem. With the way the schedule's set up, and any of these games could go anyway, but I'm just going to go based off what I know from last year. You're going to play in Philadelphia for their home opener on a short week. You're not winning that game. I agree. Maybe Adam's got more optimism than you and I. We're not winning that game.
I don't think so.
The Chargers did everything they could to lose their game yesterday, putting up 36 points or however many they did. That's not going to be an easy game. You go on the road to Carolina, should be winnable, but the Tampa Bay game should have been winnable. And then you host the Kansas City Chiefs. And if Travis Kelce is back for that game, good fucking luck. You go to Chicago. If you've already squandered Carolina or Tampa Bay, who's to say they won't get the best of you? And then guess what happens at the end of October? You get San Francisco, and then you go to Green Bay, who looked great yesterday. I hate to say it, and you can't – I'm being way overboard here, and I will admit that fully. But if this team does that bullshit again where they miss the playoffs the year after going, this will be 3 years out of 4 this team doesn't make the playoffs.
Well, and
it is overreaction Monday, so go for it, you know.
Yeah, and, you know, and we had said this in our own overreaction chat when we were talking about this yesterday, and like Adam said, I don't want to sit through this season if it ends up being what you just said, Smith. But the silver lining at the end of it is, you have a shitty year, you can get that quarterback to replace Kirk Cousins.
I guess, and I'm just mad at it now because if it's not here, you know, if they end up landing like the 9th pick in the draft or something, I won't be that upset because I know they'll be in position to go after somebody pretty good. But it's just rough. If you want to start the season where if you have to make some adjustments later and you fumble, that's fine. But when you start out behind the 8 ball, the percentages of you making the playoffs, if they go 0-2, are bad, are very bad. And if they go 0-3, it's like next to impossible they're going to make the playoffs because you have so many games left. And this is not counting. I stopped at Green Bay on Sunday, October 29th. I don't know about Atlanta or New Orleans. I don't know. They're improved. They both won yesterday. At Denver's
Green Bay
never.
Have another. Hey, do they have another guy at quarterback?
No.
Do we have another fucking 10 years of Hall of Fame play?
No, they played the Bears and they have a balanced team. No. I would bet the math says they don't. But let me go back through this just real fast. I won't spend a lot of time on it. At Atlanta, could go either way. Don't know. New Orleans has improved. Going to Denver in the altitude, and this is in November, it's going to be cold. Don't know how I feel about that. Don't know how I feel about the Raiders. That's fine. Sunday, December 17th, you go to Cincinnati. I hate that game already, and we're nowhere near the end of the season. And then you finish out the season, Detroit, Green Bay at Detroit. I'm just saying, there's a lot of football to be played. I will hold myself accountable for that. But if you start out behind the 8 ball with this schedule, you're playing your first place big boy schedule from last year, it's going to get rough. It's going to get real rough. And to kind of like counter myself and be a little bit hypocritical because I have to hold myself in check, it's kind of funny. We said that this team actually might be improved from last year in a lot of areas and still not finish with that record. So maybe my bias of 13-4 is creeping in, but I just and I'll shut up after this. They should have won this fucking game. They lost this game themselves, you know, turning the ball over and not having rhythm in the second half. And that annoys me because every win that you can pump out helps out later. So I don't know. And I'm salty that we play Philly again for the second year in a row in Philly on Thursday night. Stop doing that, NFL matchmakers. Stop.
Yeah, the NFL hates us when they.
Minnesota's really got to come in and stress ball security and make sure that they can come in and play a cleaner game of football because there were some dumb penalties there and the turnovers just made this game impossible.
Correct. That's my big takeaway is that at the end of the day, you turn the ball over 3 times, you're not going to win. You're not going to win many football games when you do that. So you work on your ball security, Adam, and it's you change the outcome of your game a little bit. And I still think that this team will sneak up on you. And some of those games that you don't think they're going to win, remember, Justin Jefferson is pretty darn good. He's going to go off and he's going to take over and dominate a game or two just on his own. And I really do think the more that we see of Jordan Addison out on the field, he's going to be a really darn good complement to Justin Jefferson. I mean, and it's only one game, but you look at the decision that they made to move on from Adam Thielen, who I think only had 2 catches for 8 yards. It was I know. I love Adam Thielen, one of my favorite Minnesota Vikings of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It was the correct decision to move on from him. And the better Addison looks, the better that, that move will continue to look for the Vikings.
Andrew, you're so level-headed. Talk me off the ledge today. Let's have therapy. Some days the ball bounce is funny. Don't forget the TV snap that hit the crosser. It's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm one step back in the direction. I'm very emotional today, boys. I'm sad that also I'm sad. I just don't like Thursday night games regardless. That means all Sunday when I'm off work, I have to watch other teams play, and I don't care about that.
Like, I turned on the game. My nephew is off on Thursday and come over and watch a game with me, and I love watching football with my nephew.
But is it on
TV
TV or is this on Amazon or
Amazon? Yep.
What? I don't fucking have Amazon.
Why not?
I'm paying for that shit.
Who's the cheap ass now? I've been waiting to clap back at you in our chat for that.
Good.
I'm sure you can watch it on NFL Plus.
Oh, they tried to get me today. They tried to get me today, boys. Last year, this day is when I signed up for it, and they said, hey, your payment has failed. I'm like, yeah, I got a new debit card. So I went in immediately, and I was like, cancel that immediately. You're not taking my money for another year. We boycott NFL Plus here. That shit sucks. Don't ever waste your money on that. But, yeah, I can't take that away from you, Adam. I can't. Kyle, I will say, as an investment, if you wanted, don't do it for the football part of it, but I do love me some Amazon Prime Video. They have free movies on there, and you can find pretty much anything you want. It's not that expensive.
I had Amazon Prime once, and we will not be sponsored by them after I say this. Their selection of movies reminded me of going through the $5 bin at Walmart. I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this garbage.
Well, it's so funny how like the conglomerates get their hands in, and they try each one of the streaming services, Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Now you have Prime Video. They'll get their hands on these major titles, which is awesome.
But they'll have like one.
But here's the thing. You're right. It's kind of like who's a top-heavy team like the Rams. They have all their starters that are great. But when you get to the depth, like the guys Matt Stafford was throwing to yesterday, I've never heard of these people in my life. Same thing with these subscription services. You get past the first wall of like, oh my God, they have all these videos. And you click that one button to the right and you're like, I have never heard of any one of these films in my entire life. Same thing. But yeah, it came on today. I was doing an order for work and looking at Amazon, and they're already pumping up the Thursday night game because it's the first one for Amazon, I think. I don't know. Where was the game on Thursday last week? Was it Amazon as well?
I watched it on Peacock.
Oh, okay. Maybe they have it for weeks 2 through whatever, but yeah, they were already counting down the hours. I don't have it anymore. I did it to watch The Office.
Yeah, Andrew, why would you listen on NFL Plus when you can listen to the coverage with Paul Allen? Why?
Paul Allen sometimes makes me want to listen to the other team's audio. Didn't that happen during one of the preseason games, I think, with the Cardinals? Their stuff, all the broadcast went out, so he was the one for everybody. He was just nationally calling the game. That's crazy.
Yep. I like Paul Allen, the color commentator who does that kind of stuff. He's good at that. I don't like Paul Allen, the everything else homer analyst of the Minnesota Vikings.
What are your thoughts on Ben Lieber on the sideline?
Corny.
He is corny.
He's corny as shit. I'm glad that he has a job in the building. Like, dude, that's awesome. I love to see former players in there, but they all have to follow a script and a certain etiquette, and it kills my soul because I want to hear locker room talk, but you can't have that on the air, of course.
Yeah, you want to hear Pat McAfee, like that's what we all want to hear, or at least what Smith and I want.
You want to hear a game where they make up the family of Aiden Hutchinson?
No. You know what that reminded me of, Adam? Remember back in the 90s when the WWF used to have the split screen of Bret Hart's family? Stu and Martha, Stu and Martha Hart. So you'd be trying to watch whatever was going on TV, and it would be a fucking triangle like what we got going on right here with Stu Hart for some reason. Yeah, that was the first thing I thought. Like, who thought I needed to hear their family that I don't know?
That's like the Manning cast on Monday night. I love Peyton and Eli. I love them to death. I don't want to hear them talk over the game that I'm watching.
I
put on a guy like Al Michaels or like whatever big name guys from forever and let me listen to them tell me the game. I don't want to hear Peyton and Eli struggle because the connection sucks and they keep talking over each other. They've been doing this for like 2 years and they can't figure out the audio on this shit. And I'm like, if I wanted to watch some boomers struggle on FaceTime, I would call my family.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one right there. I missed 96 questions. I missed the 96 questions when Zimmer was on the team. The ones they did last year were terrible.
They were weak.
They were weak sauce, PG, awful.
96 questions, the original version of it worked really well because he was an active player in the locker room and they had that rapport and they knew one another. When he was coming in as an outside player, it's different. Weird. It's different because he's a member of the media. So if they're going to do something like that, you have to have a current player. You have to have 18 questions with Justin Jefferson or something like that.
Here's a suggestion for Vikings media
for a little while.
Exactly where I'm going. Good point, Adam. Here's a suggestions, Vikings social media managers and media content creators. Why don't you let the fans decide every year who could run 96? We'll just keep it 96 questions in honor of Brian Robinson. Why don't you let them vote and then start doing player profiles during minicamp and OTA and seeing who the fun, goofy person is that they could vote for? Maybe it's Chris Boyd for a few years. Maybe Jordan Addison ends up being a hilarious person that's a media type or blah, 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 or whomever. But yeah, I'm with you, Andrew. Sergio, I missed 96 questions, but I don't think that's going to work very well because they don't know who he is. Most of the players don't remember him. It's not like he's a Hall of Famer.
Post-practice riddles that they've been putting on Instagram.
Now that I enjoy. That I can get down with because I learned something, and I love to hear like everybody mess up because it's usually something very obvious. But I don't know. I don't think we have the best social media game in the NFL.
They're trying.
They are. They're giving a good effort. They're not the worst. Say that. I'll tell you who's hilarious. The LA Chargers.
Oh, it's
great. Their social media team is up there. You guys check them out on the hype videos. But the schedule release they do is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to go into Thursday. I'm going to be very cautious, but I'm also a little optimistic because I do think that seeing the Patriots be able to have some success against the Eagles is making me think maybe Minnesota will be able to get something done or be at least competitive. So I'm going in. I'm going to watch. I'm going to be excited to see what's happening, but I'm also going to keep in the back of my head that this is the team that absolutely had their way with Minnesota in the past. So I don't know.
I still have post-traumatic stress from 2017. I don't care that immediately following Linval Joseph had that run where he had to have oxygen afterwards and we beat them. I don't care about that. Last year, they embarrassed us 24-7. We went to the Super Bowl. Adam, I applaud you for being open-minded. I think we get beat just like the Giants did last night. If we don't score a field goal, I won't be surprised.
Goodness gracious.
I don't think it's going to be like that. Honestly, I'm being a little dramatic. I don't see them winning the game. What I'm looking for, if I'm being even-keeled and not emotional, is how are you going to battle against both of these lines? Because for what it's worth, it's Dallas, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. For all the AFC quarterback talk, how many great quarterbacks they have, when it comes to the trenches, I think the NFC runs the NFL that way, especially in their top-heavy. How are you going to match up with the Eagles' D-line? What are you going to do to contain Jalen Hurts? I do like that Brian Flores will put some pressure and creative ways to kind of spark the defense against Jalen Hurts. But what I'm hoping for is another game like that. If we lose, I want it to be close. I'm tired of playing Philadelphia and seeing us get, by far and large, just drug around.
Yeah.
If they lose tomorrow night, 31-28 or 31-24, I won't be upset. Or Thursday night rather. But I don't want to see a Dallas Cowboys game like we watched last night where we're the Giants. It was tough.
I will turn that off. I
watched the whole game and I don't know why.
I'm going to be even keel. I know I'm doing some of this just to kind of be a smart ass, but I don't think they match up well with them. They did lose some players. They did lose their offensive coordinator. So we'll see. I don't like that it's a short week. I don't like that it's their home opener. They're going to be fired up. But to Kyle West's point, we've seen stranger things happen. Last year, the Vikings had no business going into Buffalo. They should have lost that game 3 times and they won it. So we'll see what happens. I hope they win. 1-1 feels a lot better than 0-2. So I'm going to.
But this is a game that I think all of us circled as probably being a loss when we looked at the schedule.
Yeah.
So I'm going in expecting the worst but hoping for the best.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated. I'm not sure when we'll do the show following. We may wait till Friday or Saturday or something.
Depends how much of a shit show it is. We might record at halftime.
Oh no.
If it's 30-0 at halftime, this ain't going to be like that Colts game last year, boys. We can go ahead and wrap it up. Thursday night on Amazon. You can watch it.
Have we ever given out a donkey to the entire team?
I think you've tried splitting it among 40 guys once.
52 donkeys. Not a one of them is worth a shit. Well, Justin Jefferson.
We'll give it to the long snapper. He's our all-pro long snapper. I like him. No, but in all seriousness, we'll keep you up to date. If there's any transactions or any crazy NFL news, we'll let you know. But Thursday night, I think 8:30 is when it starts, Eastern Standard Time. The Vikings go to Philadelphia. We'll see if they can shake off the rust very quickly this week against the Eagles.
I believe Garrett Bradbury's listed as day-to-day, so hopefully he will be able to get back in there. Because as much as I like Austin Schlottman, I don't know.
I'm looking to see who the Chargers play because after that, they go to the Titans this week. That'll be a tough game. And then they go at Minnesota. So we've got Philly, a mini bye week because it's a Thursday, and then we host the Chargers. So, we'll see how this pans out. Rooting for the boys to win. They got a tough task, but we'll see if they can get it done.
Eric Kendricks coming back home, right?
It is.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, that's all I have.
That's all I've got. We're going to do some plugging and promoting. Before we do that, I want to thank everyone that stopped by today. I know it's a later show, but kind of worked out for all of our schedules to do it. So that's kind of why we went with that. Andrew, Sergio, and I know that who popped in here earlier? Shea Rizzo. Appreciate you guys, especially consistently talking in the chat and keeping it interesting. Thank you for all your comments. If you're watching this later on this week or you're listening somewhere, like and subscribe. Go to YouTube, specifically in the app on your phone. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Whenever I schedule these shows, they will pop up for you and let you know when we're going live. Or you can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. We also stream there. We stream on Adam's Twitch channel. We're all over the place.
We are.
Speaking of Adam,
if you
his
listen
Twitch
later,
channel,
we are in so many places. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. And if you want to talk to me, at MN Viking Zombie is where you can find me. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Well, I guess you should say X. Does anybody say X anymore? Or do we all still say Twitter?
It's much like Commanders. I don't say Commanders for Washington. It's football team. You're just the football team from now on. So it's just going to stay Twitter for me.
But yeah, TikTok, wherever. MN Viking Zombie, find me, talk to me. Let's hang out.
Nice.
I've got a couple new articles over on the Viking Age. You can check that out. You can give them a click through and check them out. The commenting is no longer turned on, I believe, on the sites. So if you used to leave a comment, I appreciate that, but that's not something you can really do anymore. So please just click through or send it to a friend, and that would be great.
Yeah, Adam posted something this morning. His 6 biggest takeaways from the Vikings and their loss to the Buccaneers. So you can go check that out. And if you click on that link, you can help pay Adam's bills and buy lots of cat food because
I appreciate that. I did just buy cat food today. My cat does like to eat a lot.
Goodness, Josh Allen just threw his 3rd interception. Good God.
So basically, him and Kirk Cousins are the same quarterback. That's my takeaway.
Kirk only threw what, 1 yesterday? Oh God, that sucks. They're still winning 13-6.
Well, Kirk did fumble twice too, you know.
That is very true. I wish that we didn't have to relive that again. We're gonna bury this game and put it behind us. But yeah, you can find Adam at the Viking Age if you would help him out over there. And now you can follow Kyle West here at Vaguely Square. Tell him about your social media, sir.
Yeah, it's the social media is getting less and less as the time goes on because I hate that shit. So I'm not on Twitter anymore. You won't find me on Twitter and you won't find me on Instagram, but you will find me on Blue Sky if you are using that social media app, if you've got the invite for that one. So Vaguely Square over on Blue Sky is about the only place I'm at currently.
Nice. I want to promote your site to buy your photography or Purple People Podcast merch as well.
Yes.
I rocked the Purple People Podcast shirt that I bought a couple years ago yesterday in honor of the game starting. And I was out all over Richmond, Virginia wearing our stuff. So wanted to let you know that I enjoy being able to buy Purple People Pod merch, but I kind of want to do this for you, and I'll let you talk. Of course, this is your stuff to promote, but I'm going to brag on you, man. You've got great photography skills, and it's about that time where Kyle West gets to walk around Iowa with the season changing and just take these amazing scenic photos. I give your town, from what I've seen in photos on this website, like a rustic feel. It's kind of a vintage feel, especially the photos you like to take. So if you like those, you can order the prints. Or you can order them on items like a cell phone case, a mouse pad, a shirt, whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah,
man. It does seem like a bit of a throwback tone, back to simpler days.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've got some a photo trip planned for here really soon. So
nice.
Do you have some of your old pictures from Vikings training camps on there?
I don't, because copyright issues are really weird with that.
Oh,
so
damn.
the Vikings logo itself is copyrighted, and it tends to get flagged quite a bit. So yeah, that's difficult. Sometimes I can sneak stuff through, other times not. I try not to get my
don't test it too much.
Yeah, because it's like YouTube. You get so many copyright strikes, and they're just like, "Hey, we're taking all your shit down now." So.
Where are you traveling to, Kyle?
It's a national park, a state park here.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be going to as soon as the leaves change. And
are there creepy mannequins there?
There might be. If there is, I will take photos of them.
Nice.
Oh man. Well, that's where you can find Kyle West stuff. If you're listening, this is
KyleWest84.pickfair.com.
Yeah. Give him a look up too after you go visit the Viking Age for Adam Carlson. And if you feel so inclined, you could follow me, Kyle Smith, on social media. I'm on Instagram a lot.
Send all your feet pics on Instagram to @NCDogDude.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, especially the big hairy feet. I love big hairy toes. Go ahead and send those right over. No, don't do that. Number one, that's gross. I don't want it. Number two, take a page out of Heath Ledger's book from the Joker that he played. If you're good at something, don't do it for free. No free feet pics, guys. You need to charge people for that. No, I'm being weird and gross at the end. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at NCDogDude if you guys want. I don't do a lot of interesting stuff. I'm pretty boring outside of this. I play music. I hang out with my kid. Play with dogs. That's it. Dog feet. Okay, we have to talk about this because it's on the show. Shout out to my friend Alyssa from the military. She would I'd always send I send photos of my dog to people all the time just because they're a happy endorphin release, right? This girl would always zoom in on my dog's feet. I finally stopped having them in the shot. I said, "What is this?" She goes, "They're just so cute." I was like, this is starting to get a little weird. Dog feet. Yeah, that's a thing. I'm sure there's a whole group out there for that, Andrew.
There's got to be.
Don't want to know those people.
But that's it. I'm going to let Adam sign us out. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully the Vikings have a better turnout on Thursday. But thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us in chat. You can find us anywhere you find podcasts. We are all over the place. We are currently number 4 on Podomatic. Sometimes number 3. Sometimes number 2. Not number 1 anytime lately, but
Never
we're doing okay,
1.
I think.
Ugh. We're trying.
But yeah, we'll be back to talk about that game against the Eagles and preview the next week's game. So in the meantime, stay classy.